So, being in the month of October, the horror month, time to rank another horror franchise this time around. If you haven't guessed it already, is Chucky. So when it came to making this Child's Play ranking, I found it pretty difficult because for the most part, all of these movies, I enjoyed them all. Even the ones I have lower down the list, I do find enjoyment in them. I wouldn't say Chucky or Child's Play has had a movie like Star Wars Rise of Skywalker or Fantastic Beasts and Crimes of Grindelwald, where after watching them I'm burnt out and I don't want to see any more from this universe. I don't think Chucky has had them. Even the weaker movies, I still want to see what happens next, just because I just love the character of Chucky. As you see, I've got a lot of Chucky merchandise around me. I've got more, I just couldn't fit it in here. So I was just I didn't know where to put some of these. Some of them I knew were going to be lower down the list, but then when you get higher up, I really didn't know where to put any of them. But anyways, let's go on and talk about number 8 in the Child's Play ranking. And coming in number 8 is the obvious pick that everyone will go for, which is the Seed of Chucky. Now, I think there is some good elements in this movie. In particular, I really like Chucky in this movie. He feels the same, he looks the same, he acts the same. Chucky himself looks great. I think Tiffany's kind of story throughout this is kind of a surprising story, and I enjoyed it because of that surprising element. The character of Glenn and Glenda, I actually think is a great idea. I just don't think it was executed well in this movie, and it could have been told a bit better. Personally though, I think the fact that they went more of a comedy than a horror in this movie kind of made this movie not work as much. A lot of comedy does fall flat. At one point we see Chucky masturbate, which is a really weird choice for a Child's Play movie as well. The main storyline is trying to impregnate Jennifer Tilly, which is just really weird and an odd choice. Just a lot of this movie comes down to just a really weird and odd choice. Coming in number 7, I have Cult of Chucky. Now I had to double check the name of this because Cult and Curse I get mixed up all the time on which is which. But for you, who if you're getting mixed up too, Cult of Chucky is the one in the mental asylum, and I really like that. The kind of setting of this movie it's just great. I love the setting, but the way the movie looks, I just think it's very bland. It's very white. It's very dull, the look of this movie. All the characters in this movie are very forgettable except for Nika or whatever her name was from Curse of Chucky. She comes over in this movie. I enjoy her character, but everyone else is just very forgettable. You have the woman who is imagining Chucky being her child, which I thought was an okay storyline. One of the reasons I don't like this is Chucky's look in this movie is just boring. It's ugly. I don't like what has been said at the end of the movie. The fact that Chucky can jump from body to body, I thought that was a really bad way to carry on the story, because it kind of says, okay, the past 6 movies Chucky was trapped in this body, but now we can just jump by saying a couple of words. I really didn't like that. But something that I really liked was Andy and Chucky's head getting high in Andy's house, wherever that was. I really enjoyed that scene. But as I said, I don't like Chucky jumping from body to body really at all. But Jennifer Tilly's cameo at the end was quite nice. For number 6, I have Child's Play 3. Now, a lot of people have Child's Play 3 a lot higher because some people really enjoy this movie. But for me, I didn't like it the first time. Then when I rewatched it for this, it kind of fell flat for me as well. I do not like this movie. No, not that I don't like it. I just don't get as much satisfaction out of this movie than I do with the other Child's Play movies. I still enjoy the movie, but I just thought, okay, this is our 3rd movie with Chucky trying to get Andy. I thought that was a bit okay. I really wasn't a fan of the guy who plays Andy in this movie. I thought Andy in the first 2 was a lot better than the guy who ever played him within this movie as well. This movie came out 9 months after Child's Play 2, and I felt it was very rushed throughout the movie as well. You got Tyler, which kind of takes the Andy role as the first movie, and Tyler, I didn't like his character that much. There's a barber in this movie who is just absolutely ridiculous, and I love him for that very reason. Chucky feels the same. The military setting itself, I think it was a pretty cool setting, but I also think it's very unmemorable. The final act in a carnival was pretty cool. The little kind of action scene in the middle where they're meant to be shooting each other with fake rounds, and Chucky puts real rounds and they start shooting each other for real. All that was pretty fun, but majority of this movie, I just kind of think it's very forgettable, and I'm just not really a fan of just following the Andy storyline for a 3rd time. And for number 5, I have got The Curse of Chucky. This movie, honestly, I was really surprised. Coming off Seed of Chucky, seeing the massive gaps, hearing that this went straight to VOD, I really did not know what to expect. As well, seeing Brad Dourif's daughter coming in and playing the main lead. I was like, oh, okay, is this where the hell's this going? But her character in Nika, I was pretty sure I should have checked it again before this. But I really enjoyed her character. She's one of the standouts of the Chucky franchise for me now. I really like that the fact that she is in a wheelchair, so she's very limited to what she's able to do, but she's still able to go up against this classic horror icon in Chucky himself. I like the mystery of what the hell's happening because it's very slow build up. It's very like the first Child's Play movie where Chucky is lying dormant for majority of the movie, doing stuff throughout it. It just works really well in that kind of setting. The setting as well, it's very like kind of psycho in a way. It's very Hitchcockian house. I really enjoy the atmosphere. It's very dull, it's very dark, looks really well as well. All our side characters, I thought they were interesting enough. Nothing, I can't remember any of their names, but I just enjoyed seeing them around. But the biggest standouts for me, honestly, was Nika and Chucky. Those two work really well together as well. There's a few times when Chucky stabs her in the leg, and of course she can't feel it. Coming in number 4, I have Child's Play 2019, which was my introduction to the Chucky franchise. I actually had this in number 3, but then right before I started recording, I said, you know, I'm going to switch these two around because I kind of jumped on that. But the Child's Play remake, I actually think is a really good movie. A lot of people have kind of been hating on it. A lot of people didn't see it because they said, if it's not Brad Dwarf, I'm not seeing it. But Mark Hamill as Chucky, I thought his voice worked really well, really creepy, really menacing. I thought Gabriel Bateman and Audrey Plaza as the mother and son worked really well. I would have preferred actually to kind of remix it a bit more, have them be brother and sister. I thought that would have worked a good bit more. The kills in this movie are absolutely fantastic. Seeing the super's hands getting burnt, falling on the saw, or seeing the boyfriend's head getting literally chopped off. This movie is really bloody, really enjoyed it. I just think the kind of computer element to Chucky being able to control, like pretty much as I said, the heating, able to control so much, works really well in this horror element as well. The friendship between Andy and Chucky works really well, but honestly, having the name Chucky in there comes out of nowhere, and I think they would have been better off if they just renamed Chucky to be something else and just kind of separate it a bit more from the Child's Play franchise. I think a lot of people would have seen it, be more inclined to go see it if they kind of separate themselves a little bit more from the Child's Play franchise. And coming in number 3 is Child's Play. I wasn't sure if I liked the original Child's Play or the remake more, because I actually think these two are both really fantastic movies, and I could take or leave either of them because I think they're both great movies. But this original Child's Play, some of the stuff I don't really like. I think the actor who plays Andy is pretty bad in this movie, and come on, you got to give him a little bit of grievance because he is a child actor. He's gonna get a little bit more leadway because he is a kid, but a lot of his stuff, the way he says it, is just really wooden. It's just like, oh no, Chucky, and it's just really boring. It's really bland. The mother in this movie I think is really good. I love the intensity of when they're having that kind of argument. Well, she's arguing at the doll saying, I will throw you in the fire. I love the reveal of when he's alive and he bites her. Also the mystery of who done it throughout this entire movie, even though you know it is Chucky. But the first time, imagine seeing this for the first time, not knowing Chucky is an actual live doll. Imagine getting that reveal. All that just works really, really great. Seeing the woman fall out the window. Chucky himself though doesn't always look great. Sometimes his face just does not look great, but you got to give that because it is 1988. You kind of got to give them a little bit more leadway. But when he gets burned, when he gets shot to pieces, this movie is just a fantastic introduction to the Chucky franchise. It gave us Chucky, but Chucky doesn't really feel like Chucky does in later movies because Chucky isn't as funny in this movie as he is in later movies. And my runner-up is The Bride of Chucky. I think this movie is fantastic. One of the great things about this movie is the fact that they introduce us to the character of Tiffany, which is a fantastic kind of supporting and even kind of the secondary character in the Chucky franchise. And I think of Chucky, I also think of Tiffany because she's such a memorable character. After watching this movie for the first time, hearing Jennifer Tilly's voice, I was like, who the hell is that? And I was surprised to hear she's actually in Monsters Inc. But Bride of Chucky itself, I just think it's great. The chemistry with Chucky and Tiffany is just brilliant. It is fantastic. They work so well together. I love seeing the two of them together. Our two main human leads that we're with during this movie are quite boring, quite forgettable, nothing really amazing. But we're not watching it for them. We're watching it for Chucky and Tiffany. And I love how Tiffany brings Chucky back. I adore Chucky's look in this movie. His look in this movie is by far probably his best look. I really want a pop of that, but they haven't done a pop of that. But I just think the look of Chucky in this movie is great. I think Tiffany's look in this movie is great. The whole movie looks great. I like the road trip element. I like just the kills in this movie. Just this movie in general. I just have so much fun with The Bride of Chucky. Now just talking about it, I want to rewatch The Bride of Chucky. And my favourite all-time Child's Play movie is Child's Play 2. I think the opening kill when Chucky kills the guy in the car is fantastic. I think the character of Kyle is a great addition to the franchise of the Child's Play movies. I think Chucky is probably the best Chucky in this movie. He's hilarious. I love the final action scene where he ends up like this at the end when he gets, I love when he gets his arm chopped off and he's like yeah, and just jabs the knife in there because he knows, I'll still be able to stab if I just leave a knife in here. I think the actual actor who is playing Andy in this movie is the same actor as the first, but he's just so much better in this movie. I think the character of Andy is so much better in this movie. I like the atmosphere, the final action scene when they're fighting in the toy factory with all the Chucky dolls all around the place. This movie itself, I just think it's great. I love it. I think the Foster family, I think it's a really weird mix. The husband is kind of an asshole and the wife is kind of odd, but I just think this movie itself is by far the best Chucky movie. I think the horror elements are great. I think the comedy works fantastic. I think the mixture of that works really well in this movie. This is the movie that if I really want to watch a Child's Play movie, it's probably going to be Child's Play 2. It's the one I've watched the most. I only watched this for the first time back in July of 2019, and since then I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times. It recently got added to Netflix, and even though I own the box set here, I literally own it on Blu-ray. Since it's been added to Netflix, I've watched it twice. I just think it's a fantastic movie. It's such an easy watch just because it's so easy to watch. I can just put it on and do whatever around it because it's such a great movie, and it is by far the best Child's Play movie. So that's my ranking of all 8 Child's Play movies. Make sure you let me know your ranking in the comment section down below. If you want to see more horror content from me within the month of October, on October 31st, I'll be dropping my ranking of all 11 Halloween movies. I just have 4 more to watch and I've seen all of them. Some of them were quite bad, but I've seen 4 more left, and then I've seen all of the Halloween movies. When this is all finished now, I'm going to watch H2O, so hopefully my review will be dropping on Halloween. So if you want to see my thoughts on the Halloween franchise, click that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching.